One of the great struggles in life is discipline. Eating healthy every day, working out, and doing your daily cold water face dip. Influencer morning routines. Showing us what peak male performance looks like. You saw the thumbnail when you clicked on this video, so I'm sure that you're aware that the first one that we're going to react to is this infamous morning routine that went viral last week. I'm sure that you've seen it, but I think that it's the perfect starting point to kick off this video because it really encapsulates everything that's wrong and I guess right with these morning routines. Immediately, this morning routine starts off hot with the time in the center. We're starting off at 3:52 a.m. 3:52 a.m. specifically is a statement to say the least. It makes no sense to me. I mean, first off, waking up that early is just psychotic. That's a crime in every country across the world. Not even just on our world. I'm sure there are aliens out there that are like looking at this guy being like, we should not invade that planet. This guy, he wakes up too early. His grind is too hard. But the other question that comes to mind is why 3:52 a.m. specifically? It's such an odd time. My first assumption was that he wakes up at like 3:30 and then lays in bed for 20 minutes like a normal person, but based on the first frame here, I would assume that that's not true. He's wearing this mouth tape and this nose, I don't know what it's called, nose tape. Both have become very popular in the last month or two among alpha male type circles. And there's no scientific evidence that they actually do anything at the moment, but the rumored benefit is that it helps you sleep better by forcing you to breathe through your nose. Regardless, my point is that he obviously slept with this stuff on, and if the first frame is him in front of the mirror with it, he hasn't taken it off, so he must have just woken up at the earliest 3:50 a.m. Also, I'd like to add how evil villain coded this is. He wakes up first thing in the morning with a glowing pink light to his right, or I guess that's his left, and he rubs his hands together maniacally as if he's planning his evil plans for the day. How many people can we conquer today?
At least 10,000.
It is nice to see that the next thing he does is actually normal. He brushes his teeth, and I would have expected it to be some like $8,000 electric toothbrush, but it's just a normal toothbrush that he got from his dentist. But all of that goes out the window when the very next frame, he's got this fancy bottle. It's infamous now if you've seen this. This fancy bottle of Saratoga water. And you'll see as this video goes on, this isn't the only reason it's infamous. But he pours it and uses it to rinse out his mouth, but he doesn't show himself spitting it out, so he might have just swallowed all that toothpaste. I don't know. It's part of the alpha male grind, cleaning out your intestines along with your teeth. These are the tips that separate a simpleton like me from a guy like this. In all seriousness though, I guess one benefit of this morning routine that I'll say up front is that at least the guy has discipline. I said it in the intro, but discipline is something that many people lack, myself included. I don't have muscles like this guy. I don't know if you noticed. I mean, it's hard to tell. But he has discipline. I will always give him that. I just can't say that I think that it's the most productive way that I've seen someone have a morning routine, or the most, I don't even know, normal. So now we're probably 10 minutes away from when he first woke up, and he takes his stroll over to his window. And again, this is something that separates the simpleton like me from a guy like this. You have to go to your 1,000-story building window and stand and look out at the city. That really sets your mind at ease, and you can really focus on the rest of the day. So I'm gonna have to do that going forward. I don't know how I'm going to, because I live on the second floor and there's only 3 at my building, but maybe I can ask him to build some more stories. He also still has that bottle of Saratoga. At this point, you're probably wondering if it's an ad. He doesn't disclose that it is, so maybe he just loves his bottle of Saratoga, but what I'm thinking is that that's probably the same bottle that he had when he was brushing his teeth, so there's just like toothpaste backwash that he's drinking throughout the day. So I guess he's really cleaning those insides. So he stares out for a couple minutes and then he starts with his push-ups. And I don't know if it's an inflatable building and he's pushing out air as he's doing them, but he's really squeaking here. Or maybe that's an inflatable bodysuit. These aren't real muscles. I'm catching on now. And you'd think that that means I'm insulting him. I'm saying that makes him smarter. Like, he knows that it's all about the image. Fake it till you make it. So he just puts on this muscle suit every day. And as people kind of tell him how buff he is, it'll influence his mind. It'll make him think, oh, I am buff. So then he does things that a buff guy would do, and that makes him buff. So that's what I've got to do. I'm going to order my muscle suit. According to the time in this video, he just did push-ups for like 13 minutes straight. And now he's squatting, looking back out at the city. Drinking his water again. So another thing to add to my list here. So he heads back inside, and credit to him, these are things that scientists and like wellness experts, I don't know what, I guess like psychologists say are good things to do in the morning. He meditates for a little bit, and then he starts to journal, I guess. Psychologists do say that if you write down like your goals for the day, it makes you more productive. I do think it's a little funny because if you go back even just 5 years, the image of an alpha male type would say that journaling is so gay. Like, they would never journal in their lives, but now it's kind of taken this weird turn where all of these things that he's doing in his morning routine, they're so vain. They're so focused on like an image instead of a result. You know, we'll come back to that, but I just think it's an interesting observation, to say the least. It's not even 5 a.m. yet, and he's listening to a scripture. And hey, again, more power to him. But I would like to add, that's, I think, what he does for the longest period of time in this video. It's chopped up a lot into tiny time chunks of like 4 minutes or 10 minutes. That was like, what, an hour almost? Let's see. Okay, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, but still, that's a long time considering how much he packs into this one day. So then the rest of that toothpaste water that he's had throughout the day, he uses to dump in a bowl of ice water, and then he plunges his face in there. And this is one of his trademarks. You'll see it in every one of his videos. He loves these cold water face dips. There's been a lot of talk as to why this is done online. I mean, there's some kind of reputable scientific evidence of that being good for your face and kind of clearing your pores. And I'm totally an expert, you can tell. But here's my theory. The guy gets up at 3:52 a.m. By this point, he's already sleepy again. He wants to go right back to bed. So he is having to dip his face into the water to stay awake. He would just fall right asleep otherwise. He would just pass out, just topple over on the floor. And I mean, hey, would that be the worst thing? It'd give him an excuse to do more of those squeaky push-ups. But I mean, he's got to stay productive. He's got to stay awake. So he's got to dip his face in the cold water. He also dips his face in that cold water for like 20 minutes. So he's just, again, the more of these things that you add on, the more kind of serial killer vibes I'm getting. Like, he's just sitting there with his face in cold water for 20 minutes, not breathing. And that's what separates a simpleton like me from a guy like him. So we're at 6 a.m. This is when I would consider like at least a normal time to wake up. A lot of people wake up at 6 a.m. to get to work, and he's still just getting started. He's putting on his bathing suit and he's going to the pool. Oh, sorry, that's workout gear. I thought it was a bathing suit. So he's going to the gym first, and you'll see this is another infamous part of the video. He gets on the treadmill and he full sprints it. See, he's heard that statement, if you're like running from a lion or a bear, like it's not about how fast you are, it's being faster than your friends. That's what he's visualizing when he's sprinting on the treadmill. He just wants to not be the slowest. See, he's 2 steps ahead. You are thinking, I just need to jog so I can be healthy to run away from the thing. He's like, I need to be so healthy that I can out jog you running away from the thing. So now he heads outside and he's by the pool. And you know what? If I had the opportunity, I would love to go swim every morning. I feel like it would clear my head so much. And if the water was cold, it would wake him up again. Maybe it is. Maybe he dumped ice in this pool before he's jumping in. But this is another infamous part of the video, because you'll see here he has the time stamped as 7:36 a.m. as he's leaping, as he's taking off. And halfway through his dive, it becomes 7:40 a.m. somehow. So again, simpleton. You're not getting it. Simpleton. You have to float in the air for 4 minutes to be anything like this guy. The reason that you're poor is because you're not doing your 4 minutes of suspended in air above the pool exercise. He is. He's doing it every morning. And you know what? He's taking those 4 minutes. He's in the air. He's dumping ice. He's dumping more ice in there because he's got to be even more awake, even more aware. So he splashes into the ice water pool, and he's in there for 10 minutes or less. It's really not a long time. And then he gets into another pool. Pool of water 1, we done. Pool of water 2, It's blue. I don't know what rhymes. But I guess there's some kind of something going on where he's like, oh, go from cold water to warm water, because I think this is like a hot tub or a jacuzzi or something. So he steps into his hot water pool. And I think right here, this frame right here is a perfect encapsulation of a point I want to make about this video. He's sitting here, it's 8 a.m. It's like, it's so perfect, this frame, sorry. He's sitting here, it's 8 a.m. and he's still just in the middle of his morning routine. He's got his eyes closed, up at the sky. You know, maybe he's meditating or praying or something. The guy in the background right here, he's cleaning the tile behind him. He's actually working. He's doing an actual job behind this guy who's just making a video about him getting ready to work for his whole day. He gets ready to work. That is his job, is getting ready to work. And there's a guy behind him that probably makes a lot less money. He probably makes better money than me. I'm not making any assumptions, but this guy's living in like the penthouse suite on the top of the highest building in the city, making evil villain plans, rubbing his hands together, waking up at 3:52 a.m. And normal people just can't do that. They've got real jobs that they have to do, and they've got to wake up at a certain time so they have enough energy for that job, so that they can do stuff before their job and after their job that isn't just dipping their face in cold toothpaste water. You have to have extreme privilege to be able to have a morning routine that lasts for like 10 to 12 hours. That's not a morning routine. That's just a day. It's just a day. You just have a day where you dip your face in cold water. But also, I'm wrong, and this guy's just broke because he's not doing his 4 waters of suspended in air above pool exercise. So stay 4, I guess. So now it's just after 8, and he's just now taking a shower. So for normal people, this is like your day starts. You know, maybe you wake up, you take a shower. For him, this is like he's still halfway through the day, and now it's breakfast time, so he eats banana, and then he rubs banana on his face. And I'd just like to flash back to when I said that like 5 years ago alpha males would be clowning on this guy for doing this, but now it's like the new alpha male thing is like hacking life, like hacking the matrix and figuring out anything you can to get ahead. And if that's rubbing a banana on your face and doing cold water plunges, and it doesn't matter, like that's it, whatever it takes is their motto these days. And then he washes his face again because he's getting sleepy. Like the banana on the face was like, ugh. So he washes his face again, cold water, I'm assuming. And now it's 9 a.m. and the workday has begun. Or that's what you thought. He's got to get more cold water. He's got to dip his face in it because he's still sleepy and he's about to have to be on a Zoom call. And his workday consists of, and I'm not cutting anything here. His workday consists of him saying, we got to get it to at least 10,000. Something that everyone, like you say that at work every day, right? I say it every day. My theory is that he's talking about the amount of time suspended above pool. Right now he's at 4 minutes. He wants to get to at least 10,000. He would actually become God at that point. He would ascend. He would stop suspending and he would ascending. So that's his work day, and then it immediately cuts to, I'm assuming this is one of 2 people. It's either his significant other or a maid or like someone that does house service. Sorry, I'm poor. I don't know. And they make him this really nice breakfast. After working for 15 minutes, he takes a break. That's a lot of time without a cold water plunge. And he takes that time to eat his breakfast, and we end there. I guess the assumption is that that's just the morning routine, and his workday starts from there. I think he just immediately passes out. Like, no more cold water in the building. He's used up all the cold water. He just passes out on the desk. But we don't have to guess. Now, I had trouble finding anything about his workday, but I did find his night routine. So the gap in the middle, we can just assume that he's doing 2 things. He's permanently dipping his face into cold water, and he's suspending himself in the air for as long as possible. So he's in the air with his face is here, and this is his body, and his face is in the cold water. He's suspended in air for the rest of the day. And then we get to his night routine. So let's jump into his night routine. So his night routine starts at around 5. So I guess our assumption is that his work day is 9 to 5. And he's starting his night routine with like a salt bath. I'm guessing that's cold by the sigh of pain that he has there, which at this point, he should be completely immune to the cold. Like, he should be able to just walk through the Arctic with no shirt on. I mean, when does he wear a shirt, first of all? But he should be able to. So maybe it's actually hot. Like, he's pained by the heat because he's so cold at this point. He's like cold-blooded that it's like hot stuff hurts him. So maybe that's a hot salt bath. And he does that for about 20 minutes. So he finishes bath number 1. And your thought is, oh, he's probably gonna like spend time with someone or go walk a dog or something. You know, like after work, you just want to kind of check out for a minute, think of things, and then go do hobbies or play games or whatever you do at night. Just kind of relax, right? He does relax. He just has to do it in another bath. But hey, he's setting the mood this time. Okay, so it's relaxing. So he's in the bath. I don't know if he has a swimsuit on or not, because that really changes how Epstein-ish this is right here. He gets dinner served to him by, from what I'm assuming now, it doesn't seem like a significant other. It seems like someone that does like house service stuff. And they've also got on a Jesus Saves You shirt, so I guess he forces them to wear religious clothing as well. I guess forces is a strong word. Pays them to wear this clothing. I mean, and based on those shots, he's not showing himself, so I think he's wearing nothing, and she just has to try to set the food at the right spot so she doesn't have to see anything. But he's done with the bath. He's done with the bath now, so it's about 6 p.m. Let's see how this guy winds down for the day.
Brother, what do you mean, how do I wake up at 3:50 a.m.? Listen, I go to sleep early because temptation lives late at night. I need you to lock in. Tomorrow, we got to do at least 10,000.
So he's on the phone there. I thought I heard him say it was his mom at the beginning, but I'm watching this for the first time now, so I'm not able to rewind it. And he's getting a little self-aware at this point. He's telling her, "Oh, I'm sleepy now. I don't have any more cold water. I used it all. Everything in the city." And so he's saying, "I got to go to bed now. And the reason I go to bed is because temptation lives at night, and we got to do more than 10,000 going forward." You know, 10,000 is the amount of time it'll take for them to get more water in the city because he's used it all. So he's got to suspend for more than 10,000 next time so they can get more water in there. But again, getting a little self-aware here. And, you know, I appreciate some of that. Able to laugh at yourself a bit. But I feel like you do lose some of that privilege when you're not understanding the privilege that goes behind the day that you're living here. You're essentially just like doing nothing all day except for being like, oh, I'm getting in the mindset, the grind set for the results, and then you do nothing for the results. And I mean, it's just, I don't understand it. I just think it's kind of like a chicken and the egg situation, almost like a Ponzi scheme where he's making these videos about how he got to where he is, but the way that he got to where he is by making videos about how he got to where he is. Or maybe he negotiated with the mayor of the city and he was like, hey, if you want to have water for your city, you better pay me. Because otherwise I'm going to take all of the cold water in the city and you're going to struggle. So he had morning banana. Now he has night banana, and again, of course, wipes his face with it. There's no science that says anything about wiping a banana on your face, but you know, maybe this guy's got the secret. He's the #1 scientist ahead of the world. My thing is, any benefit that I get on my skin from that is offset by the bad banana smell that everyone smells when they walk past me through the day. So he brushes his teeth again after banana. And again, he's got the Saratoga. He's going straight from the bottle this time. He doesn't need the glass anymore. Straight from the bottle because, let's face it, it's all toothpaste backwash anyway. And by the rate that he's chugging that, he's definitely drinking it. I'm sorry, you cannot convince me otherwise. He's not spitting that out. Okay, here we go. So he is using some fancy $8,000 toothbrush. It's either a toothbrush or one of those like fancy water pick flossing things. So he doesn't use floss. And now he's applying the stuff that, is this like when you see the prequel and you see how we came to where we are, he's putting on the nose tape stuff and the mouth tape. But before he puts on the mouth tape, he takes his dystopian hit that gives him Bradley Cooper limitless powers. So this face that he's making right here, he's seeing the stock market. He's seeing everything. He's seeing it all. So he can be rich. That's how he makes his money, is the limitless nose spray, and then he invests. If he was able to see what is happening right now, then I wish he would have told me, but he can see it. You can see in his eyes, he knows what's coming. So he goes limitless, he puts on the mouth tape, and he immediately falls asleep standing up here. And now it's all coming together. At 3:52 a.m., he wakes up in this position. He doesn't go to his bed. He wakes up here and he goes, oh, time to take off the mouth tape and the nose stuff. and we do it all over again. I'm just kidding. He actually goes into his bedroom, sprays cologne to sleep with, and then puts on like an Aura ring thing to, I guess, track his sleep, and then it's bedtime. And that pretty much encapsulates his entire day, except for working, because I don't know if he does that. But, you know, that's his routine. And all things considered, he has what a lot of us lack: the ability to keep this same routine every day. And it's one that, at the end of the day, probably does make him a healthy person. He exercises, he eats well, he goes to sleep at a regular time. Those are like the big three, and I don't even hit all those most of the time, actually. But I do want to just kind of retouch. There's a lot of privilege that goes into making content like this, and to having your whole day being getting ready for the day. A lot of people don't have that privilege. And if you're like me, your job may even change day to day in terms of the hours you work. So one day you may work late into the night, and a day or two later you may work opening early in the morning, and it's near impossible to get good sleep and to have like a regular time that you can cook and just stay as healthy as you want to. So again, it takes a lot of privilege to be able to live this life. But that doesn't mean that I'm knocking it, because if he can, why not? Go for it. I'm not gonna fault you for it. The only thing I will say is that he made a response to how viral his original video went, kind of knocking all of these people for copying him. But the reality is that basically everyone just started parodying this video. They weren't copying, they were parodying. And that's kind of just, again, poking fun at him. It's not copying him. And he does compare himself to Jesus or God, one of the two, in his video. So, you know, a little self-centered, but hey, there are worse people on the internet. One other aspect of these videos that I feel like is pretty obvious when you watch it is just how lonely of a life this is. I mean, the only person he interacts with at all in the day is the person that I guess he pays to make him food and to clean up after him. It just seems kind of sad. I feel like there's more to life than being like a perfect specimen. Or maybe he's got a point.
Temptation lives at night. My demons, I'm trying to fight. Running forward as fast as I can, but I'm staying in place till it's so good in my hands. Yeah, suspended. I'm floating. I feel it. Devotion. Suspended. I'm floating. I feel it. Devotion.
But that wraps up the video. I'm gonna go perfect my morning routine, get at least 10,000, suspend in air for at least 4 minutes, if not more. But thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.